Alright, so I got quite a few bikes, and I've always been working on them with one of those ATV style jacks, you know, the ones that slide up under the frame, you strap it over, lift the bike up, takes both tires off the front and rear. They work. Not a good solution if you're going to leave the bike on there for a long time. Like, I've got this Cafe Racer Scrambler build going on behind me, so once I start trying to get that put together, a motorcycle lift table would be a more ideal solution. It'll bring it up to pretty much working height. You can get a, you can put a jack on the frame, bring the rear up, bring the front up, whatever you want. I was all set to pluck down $230 or whatever it was to get one of the Harbor Freight motorcycle lift tables. If you watch the ads, you'll find like a 3-day parking lot sale. That's usually the best time to pick one up if you're going to pick one up new. But I am a chronic Craigslist peruser. It's one of my vices. I look at Craigslist every day for all kinds of random stuff. And just so happened to luck into a guy that bought a trike and could no longer use his Harbor Freight table. Sold it to me for $100. It's in great condition. Now, the Harbor Freight table, while relatively sturdy and will suffice for 90% of the motorcycles out there, comes with a really, really cruddy wheel lock vise thing that goes up front. So the first thing I did is chuck that into a corner. The guy that had it before me was using a Condor mount. So I went looking for some kind of vise, clamper, wheel chock, lock, stop, whatever you want to call them, to go on the front of this new table. What I came up with through, I was digging around on Amazon. That's kind of where I was at. I was reading reviews, looking at things. Figured I'd pull the trigger on this one from Best Products, or Best Choice. It's from Best Choice Products. It's SKU number SKY2725. It's completely adjustable. It's fairly well built. It had a lot of decent reviews. So I threw the trigger on it. It was $57 prime shipping. If it doesn't work, I'll cut the steel up for something else. Now, the new bike I have, the 2018 Fat Bob, has a 150 front tire. It's a fat, chunky front tire. It works, it holds it. I'll show you guys later. I'll roll the bike up on it and you can see how it functions. But it does fit that 150 front tire. When it came, it was twisted. The bottom frame looked like when they welded it, they didn't take into account the extra heat that they were pumping into the metal, and it was tweaked. Didn't really matter to me because I mounted it fore and aft, so I put 2 bolts in the front and I put 2 bolts in the rear, and it flattened it right back out. Those of you that are going to use this as a standalone standalone chock, it might, it'll probably aggravate you. It probably won't hurt its performance, but just something to be mindful. If that's going to be, a deal breaker, you might want to look at a more expensive product because you are getting, China quality. Okay, so let's take a look at the chock, and I'll show you some of the features about it. We'll let you see up close how thick the metal is. This manual is absolutely useless. It comes with you can adjust the wheel stop fore and aft, but it doesn't tell you what tire size each hole would potentially line up with. So you're left playing a guessing game. What I did was kind of took a tape measure and ran it across to just below probably the axle line where I figured it was going to bump into the wheel chock. And I went out to my bike and I compared measurements till I got something that looked relatively close, and then I just wung it. I drove the bike up and gave it a shot, and I happened to get it right on the first time. So let's take a look at this and we'll go from there. Alright, so here is the actual chock, and as you can see, it's got 2 pins and basically a metal frame. So right here, as you roll up, your tire hits this, flips forward, locks it in. No adjustability, one pin, real nice and easy cotter pins. So if you want to take it out, you want to disassemble this, you pull the cotter pin, this little axle slides out, you're good to go. Now back here, you've got several places that you can place bolts. I went to the store and got some socket head bolts. I think they were 3/8. Drilled the table and ran them in so that they're nice and flush. And the holes are tapered down so that they're designed for socket head caps, socket head bolts. Now on the front you have all these adjustable things, which allows this to slide front and back. Depending on the size tire you're going to put, that's on the front of your bike. Gives you pretty decent adjustability. Where it's at right now, with the next to last hole, fits that 150 front tire that I have on the front of the Fat Bob. Now in the very front, I had to drill 2 holes through the framing because this doesn't actually come designed to mount, I don't know, I guess to a motorcycle table. It's more designed to mount to a trailer or something like that. So they don't give you any way to mount it front. What they do is they give you a bar that goes across the front. Here's the bar that they give you that goes across the front, and it would mount like this at the very front of the thing. Give you tie down points right here and on the other side. Gives you tie down points so you can anchor your straps and secure your bike. Since I use this on a table, I didn't need to use these because I already have some U-bolt things already put into the table. That way I can strap right to that. So I didn't need to use that. Although the option was there, I did reuse the bolts that came to secure that. I used those to actually go through the table in the front. And right there you can see the 2 holes that I had to drill. One right there and one right there. I drilled through that frame. Now the table, the Harbor Freight table, actually has slots under there, so I didn't have to drill the table. And then I used the factory bolts that were designed for that cross brace. And there you can see the socket head caps that I actually had to drill for. And when I drilled that, I was able, this was twisted. When I drilled it, I was able to take the twist out of it. Now it's pretty stable. It will hold the bike up, so you're able to drive the bike on and get off without having fear of it tipping over on you while you're trying to get it ratcheted down. So I guess I'll go get my bike and we'll pull it up on here and let you guys see how it works. One thing to note is that before you roll your bike up onto the table, make sure that that's back like that. If you don't, you're not going to do a whole lot of good. You're just probably going to jam into it, bounce yourself back off the table. Alright, I'm going to go get the bike. Alright, as you can see, it dropped right in, and it's held up perfectly fine. Alright, the bike hasn't been strapped down yet. The only thing that's holding it is the Best Choice front lock. It's holding the bike nice, straight, perfectly level. You can get a good little wobble on it. I'm not worried about it tipping over before I get off the bike and am able to actually strap it down. Now I wouldn't recommend anybody just use this front chock all by its lonesome, but if this gives you the time and the peace of mind to know that you can put it on the table, get out of the saddle, and actually strap your bike down properly. So far I've been pleased. I've put my Sporty on it, and I've put a Kawasaki Ninja on it, and I have put an Ultra Glide on it. So it works for me. For the price, I don't think you're going to come across a better product, you know, to do what it does. That it actually has that full adjustability. It looks like it's about 3/16 steel. $56. If anybody's looking at the price of new steel here lately, you'd have at least that much money in steel unless you're using scrap steel. So just make sure that you mount it to the front and to the back. I mounted it just to the front, and I tried to pull the bike on, and the thing kind of like twisted on me, and just was no bueno. So, all right, the Best Choice Motorcycle Chock gets a thumbs up. There's your tidbit for the day.